It has haunted our franchise every single day since we made that earth-shattering trade to number one. The heavy weight of expectation, the pressure of a cultural rebuild, and the constant nagging question of what if. We sacrificed our future, our stars, and our draft capital for a savior. Now, an NFL insider has completely flipped the script on everything we thought we knew about that fateful decision. Before we dive deep into this crazy reality, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our subscriber goal. Do you still believe in our quarterback? Let me know. Keep pounding. To understand the gravity of where we are, we have to look back at Bryce Young. When the Carolina Panthers made the massive move to draft him first overall, we weren't just drafting a quarterback. We were trying to buy hope. But as the losses piled up, the revisionist history started to feel suffocating. We saw C.J. Stroud explode in Houston, while our young signal caller struggled under a revolving door of coaches, bad protection, and absolute chaos. It felt like the franchise had made a historic, unmitigated mistake. We gave up a star receiver in DJ Moore, the 9th overall selection, and what taxing sacrifice ultimately became the first overall pick in the next draft. It was a king's ransom, a package so massive that almost no quarterback in NFL history could ever truly justify the cost. For months, the national media mocked us, suggesting Bryce shouldn't have even been drafted in the first round, with some even claiming backup quarterbacks were better prospects. It was painful, exhausting, and unfair to a kid who did nothing but work his tail off. But football is a game of patience, and the tides are quietly beginning to turn. Over the last year, something fascinating has happened in the film rooms. While Stroud's trajectory has slowly leveled off after his historic rookie campaign, Bryce has quietly, steadily, and undeniably improved. He is showing the poise, the processing, and the sheer grit that made him a Heisman winner. The gap between these two young quarterbacks is no longer a canyon, it's a whisper. This isn't just a physical battle, it's a mental war of attrition, and our young quarterback is finally standing tall amidst the ruins of a brutal rebuild. The path forward is finally clearing, and we are ready for redemption now. This brings us directly to a fascinating scenario mapped out by CBS Sports draft analyst Ryan Wilson. In his highly debated 2023 NFL redraft, he introduced one crucial, mind-bending rule. No franchise could select the exact same player they picked the first time around. Think about that for a second. Under these hypothetical rules, the Panthers are legally locked out from taking Bryce. It completely changes the landscape of the entire draft board. Now we are forced to ask, knowing what we know now, would Carolina pivot? The answer is an absolute, unequivocal yes. Wilson wrote that if there was a redraft today with this specific rule in play, C.J. Stroud would be Carolina's pick 10 times out of 10. It makes perfect, logical sense. Stroud's rookie year was nothing short of legendary, leading Houston deep into the postseason and looking like the next undisputed face of the NFL. But this isn't a story of regret. It's actually a story of incredible validation for what we have in Carolina. Because the real bombshell of this entire redraft isn't where Stroud goes, it's where Bryce ends up and how the rest of the league currently views his true value. If you thought Bryce's stock had plummeted to bust status, you are dead wrong. Wilson's projection for him is a massive wake-up call to all the haters who claimed we made the worst mistake in sports history. The narrative that Bryce is a draft bust has officially been shattered into a million pieces by one of the most respected analysts in the game. This redraft doesn't mock our past. It actually vindicates our talent evaluation under the heaviest pressure imaginable. It proves that the league-wide respect for his elite potential remains incredibly high, completely rock solid, and impossible for anyone to ignore today. So, where does our quarterback go if we can't have him? Brace yourselves, because this is where the story gets incredibly beautiful. Ryan Wilson projects that the Houston Texans would snap up Bryce with the 2nd overall pick and not think twice about it. Read that again. The team that currently has C.J. Stroud would immediately draft Bryce to lead their franchise. This completely flips the media script on its head. For over a year, we were told Bryce was a catastrophic failure, a historic mistake, and in draft selection that doomed the Panthers for a decade. But one of the most respected minds in NFL analysis is telling us that if Houston had picked Bryce, they would be in almost the exact same position today. Wilson's direct quote is a massive reality check. He states that Bryce has probably been the better quarterback over the past 12 months, and both young signal callers are going to continue to improve dramatically in their 4th year. Think about the magnitude of that statement. This isn't some Homer podcast talking. This is a national analyst declaring that over the last year, our quarterback has outplayed the media's golden boy. The Texans roster is absolutely stacked, and Wilson claims that Bryce would have easily helped Houston advance to the postseason at least twice in his first 3 seasons in that alternate universe. This is the ultimate validation of what we have always known as Panthers fans. The talent was never the issue. The issue was the toxic, chaotic environment we forced him to play in during his rookie season. Our quarterback is elite, and the league knows it. This shifts the entire landscape of our rebuild, bringing immense pride back to our loyal fans who never stopped believing in his deep greatness now. Let's take a moment to dismantle the absurd revisionist history that has polluted sports television over the last 18 months. It was honestly laughable. We had national commentators who get paid millions of dollars to analyze this beautiful game, claiming that Bryce should have gone completely undrafted. They were legitimately trying to argue that Tommy DeVito was a better quarterback prospect from that same draft class. Let that sink in. The absolute disrespect was off the charts, but we as Panthers fans always knew those takes were incredibly silly and desperate for clicks. Now we have cold, hard proof that the pre-draft debate between Bryce and Stroud was entirely valid. They were always 1A and 1B as prospects, and that legendary debate is still raging today with no clear consensus. What this means is simple, yet incredibly profound for the future of our franchise. We did not make the catastrophic, franchise-altering mistake that everyone wanted to believe we did. We chose a player with elite processing, incredible character, and a ceiling that is still entirely untouched. When you strip away the national noise and look at the actual film, the reality of the situation is incredibly clear. Bryce is fighting, adapting, and proving that he belongs at the absolute top of this league. The path to building a championship legacy is never a straight line. It is forged through intense pressure, adversity, and the ultimate resilience. Our young quarterback is showing that he has the stomach for this fight, and the entire league is starting to realize they spoke way too soon. The narrative of failure is officially dead, and the era of our cultural resurrection is officially beginning. We are going to rise from these ashes together, louder and stronger than we have ever been before in our franchise history. At the end of the day, we can no longer afford to live our lives in the rearview mirror of what-ifs and draft day regrets. The decisions of the past have already been made, and the massive price has already been paid in full. What truly matters now is the incredible, undeniable progression we are witnessing with our very own eyes every single Sunday. This beautiful, high-stakes game we love so passionately doesn't care about hypothetical redrafts or media-generated rules. It only cares about who is willing to outwork the noise and execute on the field. The heavy pressure that once threatened to break our young quarterback is now forming a diamond. The cultural change we have desperately craved in Carolina is happening in real time, and our signal caller is the undisputed heartbeat of that evolution. This is our team, this is our journey, and this is our franchise-altering quarterback. We stood by him during the absolute darkest hours, and we will stand by him as he leads us back to NFL relevance. The future of this franchise is incredibly bright, and the rest of the league is finally starting to see what we have known all along. No more excuses, no more looking back, and no more doubts. We are building a legacy of resilience, strength, and ultimate triumph. Our time is coming, and it will be sweeter than anyone can possibly imagine. So keep your heads held high, stay incredibly proud, and let the rest of the world keep talking while we quietly build our empire of success. The storm is past, the foundation is set, and we are ready to take back what is rightfully ours. Thank you for being part of this incredible ride, and let us conquer the entire league together starting right now.